Greetings, friends.
Hi.
You've been talking about this really interesting concept of inhabiting your life. And this is very interesting to me, and I think everybody else would probably find it the same. Can you explain a little bit of what you mean?
Okay, I'm gonna do my best. I was thinking the other day about how we go through life and things are kind of boxes. I live in my home and that's one place, and then I go to work and that's another place, and there's my body, which is another thing, and there's the people in my world, which are all kind of these little segmented parts.
They're all disconnected.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. And I was in the middle of a situation where I was feeling frustrated, probably with my kids because I had lack of sleep, whatever the reason, and I thought, oh, I can't wait until blah blah. And then this thought struck me, wait a second, why are you waiting? Because right now, you're in your life. You cannot get out of your life, right? And you may live in one spot or another spot, you may know one person, meet a new person, your body may change, but basically, and I don't really like to be linear, but if you think about it, there's birth, and there's death, and there's like the front door and the back door, and everything in between is your life. It's like the house of your life. And you know, it's just an analogy for us to think, instead of just inhabiting a body or a space or an idea of who we are, the things we think we should believe in, what if we lived in this life of ours that's this grand adventure and a story that's unfolding?
That's okay. I think that's what got to me, because there's this tendency, I feel like, especially in our culture, to segment like that. And all along the segments, there's distractions. So I've got, social media and everything else that's distracting me. My very mind has learned to be mindless instead of mindful, so that I'm not even paying attention to the connections. And I may be a very different person at work than I am with my family, than I am with friends.
Yeah.
Might be showing, a really good side to my friends and being really not kind to my family. And so what if we tie this all together? What if, for instance, we want to have integrity in our life, what if we bring that integrity to the whole life, to that whole picture, instead of segmenting apart and saying, okay, I can kind of behave badly over here when no one's looking, but over here I'm going to appear real upstanding.
The key is that if you take that house analogy, going to work is one room in your house that is your life, and going to see your relatives is another room in the house of your life. Birth is the front door, death is the back door, but wherever you are still in the house of your life. And it's like realizing wherever I go, whatever I'm doing, if the situation seems negative, most likely that will change. If the situation seems awesome, most likely that will change. It's all one continuous, it's your story of your life. It's one place that you inhabit and dwell in. And yeah, what if we lived all the time within that one space, the way that we really felt did us ourselves justice and did that whole house justice? How can we keep it clean? How can we make it nourishing? How can we make it peaceful? How can we make it energizing?
Thoreau said, live deliberately, right? And I feel like this is what we're called to do with this mind state, because, boy, for me it's really different to think that, okay, so here's something that happens. People are going to come out to Rewald University, and those days leading up to it, often they'll binge. They know they're not going to get any technology, they're not going to get any of the foods that they're used to, and so all the junk food I can get, all the whatever movies and things that I can get,
video games.
Yeah, and so we want to segment out that little part of our life instead of saying, this whole thing is the same. I got to see this today with Ben, one of our guys, and he was there trying to get a fire, and there were more mosquitoes, I think, than I've ever seen in my life at this swampy place we went to. And when you're in that, you kind of want to be out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Pull me out of my life here so I can get to the next part.
Yes.
That part when there aren't the mosquitoes here.
Right.
That part when my, child isn't throwing a tantrum. That part when my boss isn't.
I have a better body. I have a better job. I have a better house. I have a better life. But you don't trade lives.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened with Ben.
We were all coaching him and helping him out, and he just got down there and he did it. And there were mosquitoes all over his eyes and his hands, and just covering him. And he just did it. And at one point, he kept breaking away to swat. And one of us said, they're going to keep coming back as fast as you can get rid of them. So you just have to be present there with your task. And then he was present with his task. Suddenly we had fire, all that smoke was billowing up, and the mosquitoes were greatly lessened. This is super cool, Becca, because it brings us present into this life that we're living. And it says, what is this life going to look like? Not what is it going to look like tomorrow.
Right.
What is it going to look like next year when I've got everything lined up?
Stop trading the present moment for a future that might never come. Because here we are. You're not going to escape it, right? And we can spend so much time in our heads constructing, this is what I'll do when I have this, and this is what I'll do when blah, blah, blah. But what about right now? Because the key is, front door, back door. We're always in that house. And that's the time that we have in this space of our entire life. And in a way, it's like you can let go of things that you were maybe trying to control before. Because in the end, here you are anyway. Are you perfect? No, it doesn't matter. You're still in your life. Your life is going to be there for you. How do you want to choose to live it? What's the story you're going to make, right? When you get to that back door, how are you going to look back at that whole house, that whole life that you had, right? So step into it now, right now, and notice, here I am. Right? You can't do anything wrong other than dying. You can't step out of that life. We can't escape the life that we're in. So then let's just step into it, right? And start making decisions from that. What do I want this space, this life, how do I want to inhabit it?
So right now, even if the mosquitoes are bad, if you have a crappy job that you don't like, whatever the situation is, doesn't mean that we can't want to change it tomorrow. But can we be in it right now?
I'm really glad you brought that up, because we've talked about this before. Just because you let go into something or assume that you're just going to be where you are, that doesn't mean that you aren't going to necessarily move into a different house. Well, try to have a healthier relationship with your body. Try to aim for different things, but it takes the thought of those things being, here's the front door, back door, it takes the thought of those things being outside your life, and then you'll have a better life once you get there. It's like they're all within that life, right? So be present with it right now, but don't be afraid to change the furniture around, right? I mean, that's essentially what we're talking about. We're not abandoning our entire house, we're simply rearranging the living room. And maybe that will happen and maybe it won't. Wherever we are, we're always within this life that we get to choose to live.
So share in the comments how you are living in your life right now. Do you feel like you're inhabiting your life? If you aren't, are there ways that you could inhabit it more? And what do you want this story of your life to look like? What do you want it to mean? Share those thoughts. And can't wait to see what you have to say down in the comments. All right.
Thank you so much.
Talk with you all soon.